Hey folks, Evil DM here. I'm back with another episode of Papers and Parsecs. Before I start, welcome to the channel if it's your first time. If it's your repeat time here, welcome back. Don't forget to hit that like icon, hit the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed, and don't forget to share the videos to help other people out while we're trying to help each other out. So this is what combat looks like today. We're going to talk about combat, ground combat. I've got a lot of people asking me about that. They wanted me to do a video on it. And I've been a little reluctant on doing it because I figured there were so many videos out there exactly how it's done. You know, why? But then someone made a good point on Reddit and said, well, you know, one-stop shop. Duh, dummy. And I went, yeah, you're right. So here's the ground combat, and the one after this I'll be getting to is ship combat, but I wanted to take care of the, you know, the fire blaster melee combat. So let me go over page 46 in the book, and it talks about fire combat, or blaster combat is mostly commonly known as. There's also a short write-up of combat on page 13 of the first edition book, but it doesn't really go into much detail as far as how it really works. So let's talk about this. First things first, every player and GM thinks about what they want to do at the beginning of combat, where they want to go, who they want to shoot, what they want to move to, what action do they want to take, maybe they want to use a skill. After that, everybody declares what they want to do in detail. Like the player wants to shoot, how many shots, to whom, does he want to move as well, because you're allowed to shoot, move, and maybe take another action, depending. Generally, it's just move and shoot, action. I'm just going to call action and move. That's basically what you can do. Once everything's been declared and locked in, because once you declare it, you have to actually go through with it, actions are taken. And any player and NPC can parry or dodge as needed, but it will affect their attack in the same segment only. The following segment it doesn't affect. So if it's in the same segment, it does affect it. Anyway. So after you do your actions, we go to the movement phase. If anyone wishes to move, they can move 5 meters. Or if you want to translate that, that's roughly around 16 feet. Generally, I back it down to 15. So if you're using a square grid, think of each square like 5 feet for a square. So that's 3 squares. If you want to run, you can, but that's -1 die to all actions. And it's about 10 meters. 32 feet, back it down to 30, 6 squares of action, 6 squares of movement if you're using a square grid. Now, for blaster combat, it really depends on the range, because as you can see here, ranges vary by weapons. For example, blaster rifle shooting at short range if the target is within 30 feet, but if a blaster pistol short range only goes about 10 meters. I said 50 feet. It's 30 meters, 10 meters. You have to kind of translate these things into feet as far as if you want to do it on a grid. If you're doing Theater of the Mind, which I normally play with, I like that the best. I'm generally really lax with where people are and what position they are, how far away. And generally things will fall into short / point blank, unless it's a really, like, I'm describing it as a far away distance and they're like, I'm going to take a shot. Okay. But each weapon has its own. If you look back here on page 139-ish area, they go over all the weapons. And here we go. Weapon chart. Blaster, pistol. See, each one has its own difficulty here. Short, medium, and long range has its own difficulty. So on technically, if you're in a short range, which is point blank, and you roll a 3, you can hit if the person is not dodging. So let's stick with this blaster pistol here. And we're going to say that the person's taking a shot, and he rolls a 7. That's awesome. The person who's defending can either just take that, or they can dodge. But if they dodge, it's -1 off their actions for the next round. So let's say they dodge. They would roll their dodge dice. And when they roll their dodge dice, that number gets added to this difficulty number. So I needed a 3 before, we'll say. And all of a sudden, the guy rolls, and it becomes a 14. Now I have to beat a 14 as opposed to just that 3. So the other person dodging is going to go before you actually fire your shot because you have to adjust the modifier. So generally you say, I'm going to blast them, and then the person's either going to say, yeah, I'm going to dodge, or I'm going to just take it. And if they take it, it's a 3 to 10 area, depending on cover and depending on what they're doing at the time. After you decide that you have hit, then you decide how much damage you've done. So we go over to the damage for the blaster pistol, which is 4 dice. We roll 4 dice. We add that up together. We'll say we get 16 total. It's just an easy number, 16. So now the defender will roll his strength plus any armor bonus that he has, depending on the armor, because if he's wearing just a helmet, obviously that's not going to protect his body. But if he's wearing like a chest piece or an arm piece or something, generally we just kind of say that's fine. Head, no, but arm piece, whatever, say it gives you an extra additional 1 die. So, and the strength is 3. So you would roll 4 dice and you would try to match that or get over that damage I said of 16. So I have 4 dice I rolled, I got 20. All right, now we go over to this chart down here. As you can see, damage summary. And the damage roll was a 16, but my strength roll was a 20. So, okay, I'm greater than the damage roll, which means I'm only stunned. I just kind of fall to the ground, and I'm stunned for the rest of that segment. I get right back up next turn. Now, for example, let's say we're back to that 16 of damage roll, but my strength roll, I get 12. Well, crap, that's obviously I'm not going to be stunned. Now I'm going to be wounded. All right, so now I'm at -1 actions going forward, but I'm wounded. Again, let's say we got that 16 damage roll, and this time I roll 8. That's half of the damage roll, which means I become incapacitated, or it's like 50% of the roll, depending on how you look at it. And then we'll go again with that 16, but it's 3 times as much. So 3 I roll. Crap, I'm mortally wounded. I fall to the ground, and I'm pretty much dying. That sucks, because I will read that in a moment, which each one of those do. Now, when it comes to melee weapons, it's pretty much the same way. Each of them have their own difficulty number, as you can see right here. And that's a difficulty number you have to beat. If the person wants to parry it, you use the parry depending on the weapon that they have, and you would basically roll their skill dice for parrying. They can also parry punches and things like that, but then that would add as well to the difficulty here. We turn to page 14, actually, and it shows you a stunned character falls prone and can't do anything for the rest of the combat round. A wounded character falls prone and can't do anything for the rest of this round. Anytime he rolls skill or attribute die, the code is reduced by 1. Wounded characters who are wounded again become incapacitated. Incapacitated characters fall prone and is unconscious. He can't do anything at all until healed. All incapacitated characters who is wounded or incapacitated again is considered mortally wounded. A mortally wounded character falls prone and is unconscious. He can't do anything until healed. Worse yet, at the end of every combat round, he must roll 2 dice. If he rolls less than the number of rounds since he was mortally wounded, he dies. Example, roll at the end of the round in which the character is mortally wounded. If the roll is less than 1, which is impossible because you're rolling 2 dice, he dies. The next round, he dies on anything less than a 2, which is also impossible. Third round, anything less than a 3, which becomes possible. In other words, you're eventually going to die unless somebody comes over and saves you. So there's that. Melee combat will work the same way, except that you're using melee weapons, and melee weapons have their own modifier again. Page 139. As you can see, melee weapons have a difficulty of 5. And the damage for those are based upon your strength plus whatever the damage of the weapon is. So hands is obviously just your strength. Club is strength plus 1d. Spear, 1d plus 1. Vibro Blade, 1d plus 2 plus Strength. And Lightsaber is 5 dice, no matter what, unless you specialize and make it different or whatever. So that is basically how the combat system does work. And after all that is done, you do multiple actions if you declare them and the segments following all that. But my group, how we normally do it is normally the players will go first in the combat unless there's some other reason why. Then we will roll a d6, passing it along to each player. When it comes time to roll side initiative, we roll the d6 for the side. The highest side will go first, moving from left to right around the table. That way everybody gets to roll the die, and that person will go first, and boom, 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 and go around the table. Everybody will take their actions when it comes to them. So if you're doing multiple actions, you'll just do all 4 of your actions minus 4 dice every time you roll. So boom, boom, boom. And don't forget, when it comes back around to the other players, the NPC's turn, and they're firing on you, you're going to be at that minus 4. Move and turn, redo it again. That's basically how it works, combat. And I don't think there's anything really more to say here. We could do a little example here. Why not? Okay, we got our little map here for roll 20. I got my stormtrooper here on the left, and I got my player over here on the right. So we'll say the player goes first, and he's going to declare he's going to fire his blaster pistol at the stormtrooper. And according to page 139-ish on the blaster pistol, I need because we're at short range. That means it's only 5, 10, 15 meters, 16-ish around. So that's short range pretty much, or point blank. And the blaster pistol says it's anywhere from 3 to 10. We'll say it's just a little bit over, so we're going to say it's more like a 5 or a 6 because he's not exactly standing still. So my blaster pistol skill for my little guy here is 4 dice. So we're going to roll. Actually, what we're going to do first is it's going to be 4d6. Right now, the stormtrooper is not going to dodge because he doesn't have that great of a skill. So he's just going to take it thinking his armor is going to absorb it. So he's going to roll. I'm going to roll 4d6. And I get a total of 17, which blows away that number of 3 to 10. And the stormtrooper's like, all right, well, I guess too late. I took it. So he's going to, now we're going to check out our damage is 4 dice again. So we're going to roll 4d6 again. And for our damage, we're going to get 12. The stormtrooper has 3 for strength and 1 dice for armor. So that's 4d6 to resist this. So he's going to roll 4d6. He needs to get over 12. And he gets 16. So that means he's stunned right now. So he kind of falls down. And we go to his turn, which he's stunned. So he can't really make a movement. So now that goes back to the player again. And he's going to fire again because this is a new turn now. And he's going to fire his 3D. Did I say it was? Yeah, I believe that's what it was. No, it was 4. Roll. Just got to keep rolling the same thing. Roll 46. His blaster. He gets 11. The stormtrooper is kind of dazed and stunned, so he's taking it again because they're stormtroopers. I have powerful armor. So let's roll our damage. It is 10. The strength, again, 3 plus 1d for armor. The stormtrooper is going to roll. He's no longer stunned because you're allowed to be stunned. He has to beat a 10. 13. He's stunned yet again, so the player is going to go yet again. So we're kind of stuck in a loop right here. So let's just say that he doesn't get stunned and the stormtrooper gets to go because I want to do another example here. So now the stormtrooper is going to go and he's going to fire. But then the player's like, no, I want to dodge. All right. So the player has 5 dice in dodge. So we're going to roll 5d6 because he really cared. And we get a total of 23. Which gets added to the holdout blaster short range of 3. So 26 is what the Stormtrooper has to hit. He only has 4 dice in his blaster whatsoever, which I don't think he's actually... He could do it. He'd have to get all 6s, but we'll see. And he rolls a 21. He gets close, but he doesn't hit whatsoever. So now it's the player's turn again. And that player now is at 1 die negative because he dodged last time. So I said he had 4, so now he would roll 3d6. And we get 13. Stormtrooper obviously will take it because they have armor and they believe they're invincible. At least in my eyes, they always think they're invincible. They don't ever dodge. Do you ever see them dodge? No. I guess you could. Maybe Imperial ones or ones that are more powerful. Yeah, but these are just mooks and they're supposed to go down like in one shot. So he's got his 4 dice he rolls. He has to beat that 13. He does. So that's basically how combat works there. I mean, you could roll initiative by doing perception, d6 side, just let the player go, whatever's logical in the situation. Now, you see how I got stuck in that loop a second ago with the stun? I know a lot of GMs that have done that. When you beat the strength roll, you pretty much just shake it off and you're not exactly stunned. And you get to move and you don't have to, blow your turn. Otherwise, you're going to just get caught in a loop of stun, get up, stun, get up, stun, get up, until they finally just beat your number and blast you. So it really depends on how you want to take care of that combat and how you want to do it. There's various ways, and you'll figure out a way how to house rule them over time. Now, when it comes to, again, melee weapons, obviously you would have to make your movement to move into there to the player, into the Stormtrooper. He'll going to blast him with his Vibro Axe. Same thing, he has to be the difficulty of 15, but again, the Stormtrooper could try to parry using maybe his blaster pistol, because it is in his hands, that does count, and he would roll and add it to this difficulty number of 15. So once I determine I hit, then I roll my Vibro Axe damage, my strength, which he's only 2 dice, plus 2 dice, so it'll be 4 dice I'm rolling there. So we're done. Then it's the same thing from going forward. Strength roll versus damage, and moving forward, going until somebody drops. That's the end of combat. What's today? All right, so hopefully you've gotten something from all this combat talk, and maybe it helped you out. You can leave your comments below. Tell me how you do it in your game. My game, again, we do it d6 for one side. The highest side goes first. Going from left to right around the table, they take all their actions, even if there's multiple actions, and then move to the next player, and so on and so forth. And then the next side goes, and generally that's how we quicken combat up. It's pretty quick. If you want to hear how we do it, listen to Star Wars Fall of the Order, which you can find on iTunes or your favorite podcast app. So with that said, going to say keep it original, keep it old school, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Good night, everybody.